Hi everyone, welcome to Lumination. My name is Adaora and I'm extremely passionate about helping people live a purposeful life. On this show, I'm going to be talking with so many amazing people whose journeys I hope will inspire you, will motivate you, and will empower you to do so many amazing things in this world, because I believe that you were made for greatness. And so I want you to listen to all of this stuff, and I want you to remind yourself that you are light. Olanrewaju Ogunmefun, better known by his stage name Vector the Viper, is a Nigerian hip-hop artist, singer, songwriter, actor, and philosopher. He holds a bachelor's degree in philosophy from the University of Lagos. Vector has released 3 studio albums: State of Surprise, The Second Coming, and Lafiaji. In 2011, he released the video for the song Get Down featuring Two-Face, which was the 3rd official single of his debut album, State of Surprise. Vector is also the creative director and class master for Hennessy VS Class Nigeria and was the face of hip-hop for Hennessy Artistry Nigeria 2015. Vector is passionate about telling stories and spreading positive messages through his music. He also delves deep into philosophy, human psychology, and integration, and is always looking for opportunities to share and teach about his findings. On this episode, Vector shares his personal philosophy and his love for humanity and identity. Hi Vector, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we've had so many amazing conversations over the past few months.
Yes, sir.
there's always something insightful that comes out from our conversations.
Yeah.
And I'm going to start off this conversation just asking, so tell me about the name Vector. Vector the Viper.
Yes.
Where'd that come from?
It's weird. We were at the physics lab in St. Gregory's College, and we were studying vector quantities and scalar quantities. We had done oscillations and stuff, and yeah, I remember that day Victor was fighting, and they're like, "What happened?" And I said, "He took my spot." Say, where were you standing before?" Baba say, "I was standing at his back." The man say, "Correct yourself." I was standing at his back before. So I was standing behind him. Oh, yeah. But it's weird. The moment he just goes, so we'll be discussing vectors today. I just wrote vector. And that was the last thing I heard in that class.
Wow.
Then that same day, we went to biology lab. And Mr. Carlo had said, so snakes are usually vectors of poison. The vipers are vector of the viper.
Are you serious? So you just wrote down
That's
stuff.
what I was doing in school. I swear down. That's what I did in school to get the name. I was like, Vector the Viper.
But were you rapping at that point?
Yes, I was.
So you knew that you were not just writing it down as a nickname. You were writing it down as a rap name?
I wrote it down in graffiti on my book.
So it was surely a rap name?
Yes, it was surely a rap name. I knew that I was looking for definition for what I thought my skill represented, and which was magnitude and direction.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people don't know that.
It's too geeky.
But it's lovely. I mean, it was spontaneous.
Yeah.
It wasn't too deep a thought, but it became deep, right? And I want to talk about your background a little bit, because I know you grew up in the barracks, in McCarthy barracks.
Yes.
And it's kind of interesting, because whenever I think about the barracks, or when people think about it, you're like, tough guy,
Yeah.
and so tell me a little bit about that. How was it growing up in the barracks?
It was, first of all, the best way to be a Nigerian is to live in the barracks. Because your neighbor is probably Yoruba, the other guy is Igbo, your neighbor downstairs is Efik, the other guy is Calabar.
So there's diversity.
We all just had funny accents going up and down. Like, I could have a funny Calabar accent if I wanted to, or Igbo if I wanted to, or sound Yoruba, and even in Yoruba you see Lauren, Ijebu.
Right.
I'm like, Jesus. So we never grew up with any definite accents in the barracks. We're all just pidgin English children.
Right.
That was one. 2, the hardness of the barracks kind of molds you into a person that you need to be in comparison to the hardness of your reality or life. Yes, I had my bully moments. I had to fight my bullies. So right now, I don't understand what it means to be a bully. I understand you trespass, you collect. right? But it's not because it's violence, because you pushed me to the point where you can't now push me and start to beat me now, and I'll be looking at you now. I don't understand though. In Yoruba, we say, when they no carry my hand, give laundry or dry cleaner. So I learned how to fight for myself. And I remember at a point I was, I have a scar on my shoulder. And it was a very serious fight point. I probably would have had 1 body count right now. Okay, that was the first moment. There was a second moment too in my life. But I remember the guy being on the floor and I was about to break his head. And somebody takes the plank and pushes. The way the guy pushed me, the wind that flew with the push, I found myself in front of block 1 and I just climbed those stairs. I went home and the fight kind of like lasted for a week. So that's that tough guy thing that comes from, because yes, we're raised around military men who have been trained to be aggressive if need be. And if you are a normal person that wants to be cool, like I'm the geeky guy who is watching film and not saying, the actor kicked the ball, squish, squish, squish. I'm the guy with the conversation. Like, so the guy called me the actor, and I say, you remember the last time we said blah, 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 blah. They'll be like, Larry, don't come again. Too much.
Right.
So I just kind of like, I started to shy away from that, but you have to learn to fight for yourself, because there were guys who were willing to bully and beat you down. So that's life in the barracks, but it also shows you the harsh reality of life. Like, people left home, mothers left home as wives and came back widows. It's weird. And 3 months after, Baba, they're going to throw in a property over, like outside, move out. The man died in service. Right. So all the harshness of reality that I was watching as a kid, I was like, wait, what? Are they throwing them? These guys, they pack their load through away from balcony. And what's happened? And their part on diner. So if you see police where they shoot, where they bag, I understand why they bag. Because I'm like, I know exactly what the truth is from that part. So it kind of like has just built me into this, guy that's kind of, I've seen quite a lot, even when it's not my concern.
It's kind of interesting because, when you're talking, I guess most people would see it as, is this person a very aggressive person, like based off of that upbringing? But in all the conversations I've had with you, you're very, very particular about understanding human nature, and you're very, very passionate about humanity, passionate about empathy, and I feel like you took this upbringing, right, and what you were exposed to, and you sort of like turned it into now being the guy who people sort of like have conversations with, because they know that you can understand where they're coming from. So where that interest in human nature, like, how did that happen?
Older now, I'm looking at my life and I'm like, how the hell did you come across all these information? Because you were, it felt like, I always felt like we are the ones who were never meant to make it, especially as a Nigerian. Like, we're the ones who are meant to be, Lagos Island people, Yoruba people, Ras people, Barak people, their father is collecting bribe and blah, blah. Whereas my reality, dude, my father is too much of a clean police officer. They bust my head. At a point, my father, because of his nobility, was in trouble with one of the IG of police. So guy, they were trying to fuck him up. They were looking for his file. Like, we're going to church to pray. Like, I was just like, like all these things just kind of like made me into this beast that I tame a lot, because I know the foundation of the mess that we're in. But it's led me into, if you understand this much, maybe you should just try to talk to people and see what their own stories are. And I guess that's just what it was. But I don't remember being intentional about this. I kid you not. Life just always happened to me in a way that I found understanding by myself. I stopped reading books at the point because I was like, what is somebody's view shall give or take, no matter how balanced it is. My person view. I have eyes, I have brains, and why can't I be in the rap verse, why can't I be like the likes of the Martin Luther and the Malcolm X is killing every verse? Like, why can't I do that? Why can't I be the guy who's by himself thinking, we are Nigerians. No, I'm Yoruba, but what's most important is I'm a Nigerian. No, I'm Nigerian. What's most important is I'm African. No, I'm African. What's most important is I'm a human being. Why can't I build up my own thought patterns as such? Why must it be the great Nelson Mandela said. I mean, I get that, but what happens to my brain? So I started to ask those questions. I'm the rebel in my house. I was the guy that never changed his left hand because I told them, it's the other hand of the right, not the evil hand. And you, mommy, if this hand break now, you cry. I know you cry. They have this speaker, my son. So I realized those things and I could hold on to them, but how I did them, I can never say. Because it didn't feel like I was positioned in life to be able to do such, especially with the environment I grew up in.
And then you went on, you took this a step further technically, and then you studied philosophy.
Yes.
Why did you study philosophy?
That's why I was checking all the choices and I was like, and it was diploma. We're going to pay 330 something thousand naira. And I was like, I was going to enter university. I can't remember what date that was, to be honest. But I'm like, plenty plan. I saw philosophy and I don't know why. Like I said to you, my mind life has just always happened. I'm like, bless her, I would do philosophy. And the only thing that came to my mind when I saw that option was, it'll probably make you a better person. It'll probably teach you how to think. Because I saw the little, like the brief introduction as to
like
what philosophy was about. And I was like, this sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Then upon entering philosophy, I was like, I just plenty BB grammar. It's actually easy logic. I'm a huge fan of metaphysics. I believe in what's beyond the physical. And that shaped me because I've always been that person. It's weird. As at 13 or 14, max 15, I had a dream that my uncle was going to die and he died. So in a way, I'd had a funny spiritual experience with life and I didn't like it. So I don't understand how plenty of people in Select Church are forming prophet and want to see the future. But if you see the future, I'm not sure you want to know. And in my head, I was like, wait, so when person go die, I go, no, I don't know if you do anything. No. That's too, and I literally prayed for it to go. So philosophy just kind of like made sense of those things for me. Like, okay, yeah, so there's a reality that is beyond what you see. I learned that before carrying church on your head. Like, there's a reality that is beyond what you see. Even if nobody comes to tell you Jesus loves you or God is there, or like, there must be something beyond what this is. And if that thing is probably the source of all creation, then it's worth looking into or maybe aligning with. So it was philosophy that I picked from the brochure that helped me make sense more as a Nigerian of what was just to be done or ignored.
I want to talk about like your personal philosophy now. Do you have any personal philosophy that you live by?
It's at a point it usually was live when you're alive and die when you're dead. Just live whilst you're alive and die when you're dead. Like,
what does that mean to you?
As long as you're alive, live. The only time you can stop living technically, logically, basically, simplistically, scientifically, calculatively, anything is when you die. So whilst you're alive, no matter how bad it be, I think if you had that type of mentality, you know that as long as you're alive, like nobody thought there'll be the internet era where we'd be able to have this our own little setup of TV station / radio station / like we're in that era. Like, so whilst you're alive, alternatives are popping up. Yes, do that. Like with music too. Whilst you're alive, try everything. Like we forget that we're individuals. So that's the philosophy I've had for the longest. But now it's just be yourself. Whilst you're alive, be yourself. The longest thing to do for this life. Now, when you know say you die, you can't leave most of the enjoyable cognitive side of the life as somebody else. I would rather, for example, be Vector the Viper and have 10,000 fans come to a concert than try to be who I'm not so that I can have a clout of people just because it's a clout of people. It's best whilst you're alive, be you. At least, what do you have to lose? I feel like once you're alive, live for yourself. If you are going to suffer for anything, at least suffer for yourself. The height is you are going to die. And do you want to die building someone else's, not even empire, like just building someone else's fulfillment? Empire makes it look very material. Now, that empire might be the guy's fulfillment. Do you have something you want to fulfill in your life? Would you rather struggle in this life that we're not sure we're going elsewhere or next and say, I did me and I worked it? Like, would you be Vector that is a Yoruba boy from the barracks from Lagos Island that is supposed to not be learned, that who is now an educated illiterate? Would you rather be that boy for his own good? I like it. Yes, I'm educated, but I'm an illiterate. I like that. Would you rather be that for yourself before you at least die over doing for another person?
What do you think is the biggest problem that people have with when it comes to identity? Because I'm listening to you and I'm hearing a lot of conversation around identity.
Yes.
And you seem to feel like, you are, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like you're secure in your identity of who you are.
I'm securing it.
You're securing it. Okay. Yeah. So let's talk about, actually, before we go deep into identity, I want to talk about, was there ever a point in your life where you weren't sure of your identity, of who you are?
That felt like most of my life.
Yeah.
Because, let me go back again. Like, I can't be the African who furthers the philosophy of the likes of Martin Luther and the Malcolm X's, killing every fucking verse, even when I don't rehearse. You need a doctor who's a soldier, who's a surgeon, who's a nurse. The hardship of reality has made me harder than all the religions in the world. Dip mixed in Farrakhan. Couldn't tell how my mind works. I'm deaf, read the sign words. If anybody thinking they're king, and I'm guessing time's up. I feel like I actually want to talk about that identity because all my life, I feel like I've struggled to be me. Like, I'm in Nigeria where I'm rapping and they're like, but you know, say this thing no go sell. They tell you, say the only thing to do with rap now sell. Like, what happens to the level of intelligence that we build in the minds of the young people who become the adults with cognitive skills to see the politician that is telling rubbish from his propositions? Because if you think about it technically, most times in Nigerian history, politicians have come to lie to you about what they will do, but because you don't have the cognitive reasoning to see, but we keep falling for the same traps. And I'm not even talking about the elite. I'm talking about the random people. Yeah. So is it okay for my music to cater to those people who understand that it's not about who Vector is voting. It's about who you're listening to at the debates to pick who you run with. So on that journey to self-discovery or identity, like, it's something you struggle with. I struggled with that for so long. You're too intelligent. Oh, your grammar is too much. Oh, you speak too much. And it's so limiting. Whereas I have a lot to let out of me because I've sat down and I've observed, and I feel like I need to put this out there because I see people going through it every day. My kid won't go through it, but with the loss of identity or the falsity of forced identity is even worse. Like, we're being forced to think this is who we are. For example, we are Yoruba people. Yoruba people don't do this. Yoruba people don't do this. Igbo people don't do this. Hausa people don't. Alayu, you calm down now. This same our forefathers follow sell us as slaves, though. This culture of the past, where will they preserve? They follow. So let's evolve. Let's evolve from their Igbo people, their Yoruba people, their Hausa people to just their people.
The human beings.
Yes.
Right.
And so it's
especially because we see that it's causing problems, right? And so if you see that something is not working, it's like, why don't you evolve and change into what's actually working?
That's the purpose of life, is growth. And if culture is part of life, culture will not but grow. And if culture is going to grow, it means culture is going to evolve, advance. At a point, we know the old cell phones now, but now every kid uses the tab. Culture must grow. At a point, people make it sound like our language is very important. Don't get it wrong in culture, but we have more people who understand the language, but they don't speak a lot of it now. But
even our language is allowed to evolve because really culture is what? A set of values and languages, and that a group of people come together and decide that they're going to imbibe. And so the eras are changing, right?
Yes.
So technically we are creating our own culture.
Exactly. Like the same way.
In the era that we're in.
I said to my mom, Mommy, there's new wisdom now. Yourself, when you're young, you begin getting new wisdom and you disagreed with certain things your parents said. It's only normal for that to happen now. Now it's a game of who has more points to prove in their conversations, or like tangible points to hold on to. And even if I act like I don't hear, I'm a human being, I will assimilate later and it will happen. But let's have a conversation. Don't force us into the false reality that you say we are. I'm your child. Yes, I am not your property. It's weird. Like, Mom, your destiny and my own are two different things. When you born me, you didn't think you were going to give birth to an intelligent kid with an IQ of above average that is going to become a rapper that is well known. You didn't see that coming. You probably thought I'll be a doctor. because I could draw a plant cell offhand and animal cells and put the cytoplasm, the mitochondrium, the nucleus, everything right where they should be. It was to me, it was art. To them, it was you become doctor. You see that, mom, you say you can be wrong. So listen to me small first now.
I actually love this. You just just open up something in my mind, because as a mom, I think for me, I sort of look at myself as a vessel, essentially a conduit, right? My responsibility is to birth, right? A vessel, another vessel that God wants to use for whatever it is that he wants to do with that person in this life, right?
Yes.
And so my job is to nurture, right, as much as I can to a certain extent. So you nurture and guide, you know, and do what you can, but you cannot control the outcome of that child's life. You have no control over that, no matter how amazing you are as a parent to your child, you know. And I feel like a lot of parents go around having guilt from not being able to control the outcome of their child's lives. And I think that the fear from that fear is actually guilt. The fear of wanting to continuously tell their child what to do, how to do it, where to go. It comes from an innate fear that comes from guilt, from the guilt of, I need to be able to control what you become.
And they've passed it on to us. I remember when I was young, I said to my mom, Mom, I want to swim. You remember that Uncle Kinikon's son that died in the pool? Okay. Mom, I want to go to the beach. Do you know how many picnics they denied me? Because they knew I was a free spirit. Like me, I'll probably try to swim. Auntie Kinikon to Kuni Beach. Okay. Mom, I like power bikes. There was one man that is there anything I can do in this life that there's no fear? However, I grew older and I realized that you can't save me from the world. You can only help me with some level of guidelines and knowledge to prepare me for the worst that can happen. Like you, Mom, you never saw the era of internet bullying coming. How could you have prepared me for that? Like you never saw that coming. So I feel like a lot of parents now, they forget to, and let's make this very clear. No child is ignorant. They just do not know how to communicate with you yet. Remember, we are teaching them the language to communicate with. So they know what they want to say, but they've not learned the placements of the words to convey the right message that they want to pass across. So if they say they feel learn English language like that, boom, they would have a dope, proper conversation with you. Like with my kid, the other time I was like, Mama, give me that chair. She was walking towards the chair and I wanted to sit down. Like, okay, I wanted to sit. I was like, can I have the chair? And I said, but I'm using it. I said, okay, use it. She said, but I want to use it. I said, okay, use it. And she sits on it. And to me, it's okay, because she must learn the value that my will is not Lord over her will. She got there first before me.
Right.
But it go hard for you to tell me to stand up, make you sit down now. Now I could teach you that, no, that's wrong, not because I'm Yoruba and I'm older, it's because you cannot make somebody uncomfortable because you want comfort. And those are little values that if parents started to observe some more, maybe, just maybe, would let the free spirit of a child be. And if a child says, I don't like math, you understand that maybe he's going to be a better writer than a calculus person. Right? It's just like these little things that you feel, and like taking it back to identity crisis. I've mentioned this, but I don't think I've said it enough because it's a norm in Nigeria. We have parents who think it's cool when their child is offending them to say, is this what all your mates are doing? What you're doing is you're creating an ideology of competition with people that the child has nothing to do with mentally.
Right.
Like that, their life and your child's life are two different things. Nigerian parents, I say Nigerian in Africa because I live in Nigeria. I don't know how it happens elsewhere.
So I mean, you're speaking based on your environment.
Based on my environment and my experience. There is can't you see all your mates? At the point, I gotta tell my mom, say, Shema remind you, say, all your mates say they be billionaires and they get private jets. I mean, to say, I don't go like the private jets. I can't see my father.
Right.
Man, I stop. And that puts pressure on us.
Yeah.
And it makes us forget who we truly are, because who we are is the person you truly are inside of you. And whatever you do as that is what makes you or helps you become better as who you are. But when all your life you've been flogged with comparisons as a form of correction, you think the correct way to act is to naturally compare.
Do you think that that's probably because, you know, a lot of times in the world, like everything, we attach commercial value to everything. So it's like you have to be making money, whatever it is that you're doing, whoever it is that you become. If I cannot measure it financially, then it is not relevant, you know, and that's sort of how the world seems to operate.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's people who would say stuff like, oh, you know, Vector, yes, you're making great music.
Mm-hmm.
You're making, you know, nice conscious music, but in comparison to this other person,
Mm-hmm.
look at how much money they're making. And it's like, it doesn't discount the fact that you are impacting people with the stuff that you're creating.
That's
right?
our parents' fault.
But
that's what we're saying. If you build yourself to the point where you understand that, but that's that guy's story. I think we totally need to eradicate the idea of scolding children with comparison punishments. It's stupid. If I didn't wake myself up, don't you understand? We said this earlier. You're here for a reason. A lot of people have to go to church to go and ask God plenty questions and everything. Bruh, first of all, the church is you. God is inside of you. If you introspect, what's that Socrates on the Oracle of Delphi in Greece, I think, man, know thyself. Introspect. Check on the inside. Everything you are trying to understand on the outside, the answers are inside. Like, so it is finally what you are doing. Like I said earlier again, we are experiencing life as individuals. Even married couples are experiencing marriage as individuals. This is an individual experiencing life with this other individual. Like, I feel once we're able to get those basic fundamental thinking principles into our culture as a norm, nobody will come and tell you that, but this guy is making money and you're not making money. But
that's
I'm making the impact he's not making as well. Right? But I'm not even supposed to be responding to you in comparison. I'm saying to you that I have my life. And like we said earlier, I Googled it, I checked it now, except they are lying to me on another hall. A hotel hall, maximum capacity na 6,000. Who they find 1 million followers? The biggest show in Nigeria is a filled up a hotel hall. So would you rather feed 6,000 people to the point where they'll be willing to put maybe their own hard-earned sweat and money to support you, but also enjoy your presence and whilst you're here? Like, yes, it's not about whether you're playing out the biggest stadiums and everything. Yes, we like that. That's dope. But now only one man, they become president. Now, there'll be plenty of people now. So what if it's that one fan that you have? And let me quickly mention this as well to the artists and people who are struggling with work that they're doing. I've done 10 years in the industry officially. And I've met people who, when I was rapping, they were 10 and nobody could allow them do anything. But now they are the new 20-year-olds that have buying power. The value of patience. We also need to give practical examples that are understandable. I said this to my pastor then in Redeemed Church. That are understandable, not just God says so. Who is God? You, inside of you. So what do you say to yourself? Like, I won't just tell you patience or suru lere. When they say Surulere, why it is Surulere? Surulere nítorí pé tó bá ní sùúrù, ó máa ń bá èrè wá. If you are patient, you enjoy the benefit. Like when they say a patient dog eats the fattest bone, break it down. You see this brain that we're running away from in Nigeria or in Africa, that's the help that we need. Let them know that if you are able to persist for 10 years, whoever was 15 is now 25. Whoever was 10 is now 20. Whoever was 8 is now 18. Do you know what buying power you have built in 10 years? Do not let yourself be carried away by the forced reality of look at your mates, whereby you are seeing one Yahoo boy that is doing what he's doing and is buying Benz. And even, no, guy, there's actually the everlasting idea of patience. Build it gradually. I learned that the hard way. Well, life teaches you the hard way.
Yeah. There's the patience and then there's also the priorities, because everyone has different priorities. I'm usually like, look, I can give a million naira to two different people. One person will look like they have a million naira, right? The other person might take the million naira, send 20K to their mom, 20K to their dad, you know, go and pay for someone's surgery somewhere, one auntie that has been sick. By the time they're done, right, they don't look like, obviously they don't have the millionaire anymore, but another person might take that money and maybe they have different priorities, right?
Yeah.
So they can buy their nice shoes, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying it looks different, but it's the same money.
So what we're
right?
saying is whatever your priority, understand that patience is virtue. Yeah. Like, so after they give you 1 million and you go and help family, Yoruba will call it bukata, because I think responsibility is still very posh. When you have bukata, bro, don't worry yourself. Bukata is a must, like according to tradition. But even if they dash you 1 million naira and you go sit down and you have to help bukata with it, be patient enough to know that the seed you are sowing is going to come back. If you decide to go and buy, and this is why we can't judge anybody, if you decide to go and buy fly things and everything, you better understand that you can use that flyness too to make money. And if it takes a while because it is too superficial, be patient. Like, everybody just be, whatever your priorities are, be patient with it. Like me now, a lot of people think I'm a no-lifer because I'm an artist. But will you advise me to still be patient with my art? Yes. Somebody else, you're a banker, and be patient now if you work hard. Philosophy read that as rectification of names. If you are a banker, bank well. If you're an artist, artist well. If you're a speaker, speak well. If you're a leader, lead well. And just be patient with it and watch it happen. Like, for your son to become a teenager, you have to be patient for over a decade plus. You wish he was, fine boy, see my own son, bad guy, handsome guy, but God-fearing. Like, it will be a source of joy and pride for you, but you have to build that from the scratch till it becomes this thing that you're seeing. So we've lost that in translation simply because we've had values that were instilled in us that didn't support this. And it's not their fault, because upon watching that movie, The Shack, I realized that even they too, there is a foundation upon which they were raised. But is this not the evolution we're talking about? This is the culture evolution. So let's all just, if you know better, do better. That's how I feel. So if you want to do anything, whatever you prioritize in, be patient enough to let that thing manifest into what you want it to become. I feel.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I feel like, a lot of times people also, and this is something that I'm very passionate about talking about, is people also tie their identity so close to their doing versus their being. So it's like, you're someone, you have different expressions of your gifts, different expressions of your talents, right?
Yes.
The more skill sets that you build, right, to help supplement that talent, right, and bring that talent to the forefront, what tends to happen is the better you do it, the more people put a tag on it and say, you know what, you're a good photographer. Yeah. Because you're a good photographer, right? Even if inside of you, that's not what you really want to do, and that's not who you really want to be. You just sort of take that tag, you know, and I see this happen a lot in the entertainment industry. Is one guy releases music, everyone says, wow, you're a musician, the music blows up, and the person says, I'm an artist, and then they start going in the music path. But they realize that, I have other skill sets and I have other talents and gifts that I want to explore. But the artist is already now a big artist, right? And he's now like, I also want to do architecture. Or I'm also interested in graphic design. Or I'm also interested in,
I'm a hardcore rapper, but
something
I like ballet.
else. Yes, but I like ballet. But then what happens is you're afraid to let people know that you've found these other expressions in your life and that it's okay for you to become these things, because at the core of your life or of your identity is not really about what you do. So what you do is just multiple expressions of who you are, right? But at the core, it's really about, who you are. And I feel like a lot of people struggle with this.
Yes. I mean, if we take this back to what we were saying earlier, this has become, why this is because, we can't blame our parents. If they know better, they do better. And we can't blame us too, because if we know better, we do better. However, my new life motto is, person when no say something wrong, may correct them. If you know, not if you believe, not if they tell you. Is if you know something is wrong, correct it. It's easy for us to say, all fingers are not equal when it's money comparison. Right, but in the reality of it, all fingers are not equal because we're all different human beings. You're about to say, all of us cannot sleep and put our head in the same place. Some people sleep northwards, some people sleep southwards. Like, if you check everybody that's sleeping in the midnight, we sleep differently. Right? And that's it. That's just, I feel like, once we're able to get this message out to everybody, like, guy, it is only your perspective that matters in your life most. It's only your perspective. You're an individual experiencing life. I think everything will be fine. People will be able to have self-confidence. Let me ask you this, Adaora. As a Nigerian, what exactly would you say is your national pride?
My national pride?
Yes.
I would say resilience. Definitely. I think that, you know, as Nigerians, we are resilient people, and that is a pride, you know, that I take very seriously. And
I take that because it's coming from the angle of the people.
Yeah.
Like, and that's it, which is my own motto. Nigeria is not the giant of Africa. Nigerians are. Like, yes, but if you look at it, none of us have the heart that the average American has for the American flag, for the Nigerian flag. I don't think I do. I don't think there's any, I pledge to Nigeria. I don't think I'm pledging with my full heart because, guy, light's not there, Australia. Like, don't you understand? Let's be realistic with ourselves. Like, you just have to be yourself in this setting. It's not, you can't lie to yourself. Like, we've been lying to ourselves for so long that, oh, he has to be this way. Oh, if you're a photographer, you have to be a photographer. Like, what happens to the dynamism of the Nigerian mind?
Yeah. We've drawn lines and boxes around ourselves. I think around the world in general is like, we're all human beings. We're put on earth in a kingdom to do things. And we've all created so much division. And then there's these boxes. And what happens is, you know, like you said, as you grow older and you start to just, you know, understand life and life starts to meet you. Like you get confused because growing up, like when you're not an adult, you're more sheltered.
Yeah.
So people have the patience and the time, right, to sort of help you qualify what it is that you're thinking.
In your family,
you know, in your family. But then as you grow older, nobody has time to qualify what you're thinking. So what usually happens is that you're just hit with this influx of information, right? And you cannot handle it because you have been so sheltered and put into a box and labeled.
I swear. Like, it's I feel it'll do great for our music. I feel it'll do great for our music. I feel it'll do great for our people when we're able to just be ourselves. Like, if right now you want to be a rapper and an MC and bar for bar, it's okay. Bearing in mind that it is not the popular culture.
Right.
But it's fine. And the next day you can do popular culture and it is legit and it makes you feel good and you like it, it's okay. That should be what your fans follow you for, not whether you are wearing designers like the rest.
Right. And do you have so let me see, if you were not doing music, like, do you have other things that you would have been doing, or do you have things that you're even currently doing outside of the music?
Yeah, I definitely be expressive. Like I asked you then, I want to be able to, in my lifetime, maybe find purpose for people on the level of, like, say, maybe even national pride or self-belief or self-pride. Because if the national pride is only going to come from the self, like, so first of all, being a Nigerian is badass. First of all, like, yes, we have all these scam stories, but we're also the surgeon that Hollywood put the budget down for Will Smith to act about brain surgery. It's neurosurgery, right? Yes. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm no expert, but they are studying a Nigerian doctor who took the brain of an NFL player cadaver and slices it so thin to be able to check the graph of the impact on his head over the years. Do you know what that means? A man was patient enough to understudy a brain, and the different graph was like growth or drops,
the
like
patterns,
the patterns that he recorded in the mind of this guy, for him to be able to say, over a period of years, the constant bashing of the head, even as protected in the helmets, creates this level where the human being is going to become most likely suicidal.
Yeah.
NFL, no. Government, no. But that's also a Nigerian.
Right.
So I think if I didn't do anything music, I'd still be able to say, as much as Nigerians are thieves, that guy is a Nigerian.
And he's not a thief.
Yeah, there's a British prize to somebody who just made a breakthrough in science. He's Nigerian. Maybe we can have maybe we can see the better side of Fela. Because since nobody is perfect, let's say it's a bad person. You have told us, okay, so what is the good side of this guy?
You know, this is profound because you've dropped so many profound things, but this is profound because if we didn't have those labels, I feel like a lot of people will not be able to get away with what they get away with, because you have people who, for instance, will use the stereotype to their advantage, right? To say, so technically the person who's doing wrong, you're doing wrong is you. It's not because you're a Nigerian. It's not because you're an Igbo man. It's not because you're a Yoruba guy. It's not because of anything. It's you. You're the one with the problem. And if we can address it as the individual, I feel like it will put more pressure on individuals to actually change. But when an individual knows that I can hide behind, it's like a gang, being in a gang. When you can hide behind the gang, you continue to propagate what it is that you do, right? Negatively, because you know that I can always say that, it's because I was part of this.
Yeah, but see me with because I grew up on Lagos, and so there's a very broad spectrum affiliation with gangs, because I have conversations with them, and my idea of gangs is different. It's like, okay, so you guys can be wild, you guys can be crazy, you guys can fight and everything. All right then, so who are you fighting? What are you fighting? If you're willing to lay your life down for this cause, is it not more important to lay your life down for the ecosystem that houses the cause you fight for? Like, so you understand? I think the illumination part of this is, bros, what is the purpose of light in the dark? To just change the environment now. Like, maybe we should stop being very biblical or very religious about this. Like, if you put lights for where dark day, it go light up. Which is what I said to my pastor. Are we supposed to run away from prostitutes and smokers, or take our light into their dark and illuminate that? And he says, like, what if you can't handle it, and then that's your cross to carry? Find a way to get out of that shit. Because it's not your intention, but you don't did there. So maybe you understand better. So when you leave, you won't judge them so much. The same way I try not to judge the Nigerian police, even though I know that my father was in your shoes and he didn't do this rubbish. However, you did suffer, Sha. It's just the understanding. Like, once we get that, I feel like we're just going to be so chilled. Like, okay, this guy, okay, he messed up. Oh, all right. So what do we do? Like, I would definitely be that guy who's making sure we don't always hear bad about Nigeria. Like, when I was watching movies as a kid, Jesus Christ, once there's something that happens in the movie and the guy says, hello, 911, and they pop, you just said somebody from the room. If they said Nigeria now, okay, everybody's just like, yes, Nigeria will say you fire service. Your house go don't bomb finish. Like, I feel like we've just bombarded ourselves and we've sold the narrative so much that we keep forgetting Chioma Ajunwa is Nigerian. The bobsled team are Nigerians. Like, Adaora is Nigerian. Vector is Nigerian. Like, the surgeon is Nigerian. There's a guy who, I think his name is G.A. Oyibo. He was trying to propound a theory that, according to his theory, I think he called it the theory of everything. I'm not very sure. I'll have to do my research and check again. But the white guy that I saw on TV was saying, but according to this theory, in the future, we might be able to travel through time with a cup of water. Or I might be able to fly with a cup of, like, the energy that there's somebody in the East that has created a generator that is powered by water. Like, that's a Nigerian. Okay, so guys, we're actually bad guys, as people. Maybe not as a nation yet. But then again, people make up a nation. Yeah. So maybe I'll be doing that to just maybe let guys know that, what did Jay-Z say? Even a broken clock is right at least 2 times a day. So let's find out time where we're right now and just sit on this like, yes, at least we try, because nobody's perfect. Even the person telling us we are wrong, no worry yourself, himself, no perfect. So let's be better. Let's appreciate ourselves more. Let's look at you and say, oh, she's illuminating her generation. Let's appreciate you for that genuinely. Not Bogbo where they see you and everybody say, Mama, you're giving them money. No. Let them just appreciate that this person, let them not say, all these grammar people, all these people. You get what I mean?
Because like, encouragement does go a long way. Boom. And I feel like a lot of times, especially within our generation, I feel that we should understand, because we we didn't necessarily get we can see how a lot of the people who went before us didn't necessarily get the appreciation and what that cost in their lives. And so you would think that we would understand how to treat our own peers to make sure that, you know, we don't go through the same
like
thing.
Rashidi Yekini died recently. Like the person who designed the Nigerian flag, I think the only thing that Baba had as upgrade was painting his house green, white, green. Like Rashidi Yekini too died just like that. Like, and I'm there looking at people like, which kind of like moves me to the xenophobia. Like, guys, xenophobia is up, but we know you just pretty much hate crime. Xenophobia is big grammar, but it's okay for some people to joke about that. But it really isn't funny. Because if you travel back to 2009, Lucky Dube, legend in South Africa, was killed because the shooter thought he was Nigerian. How the hell do you live from then to 2019 and you still have a problem with Nigerians? Like, we just have to come to a point where all of us just get like, we actually have national pride. It's a shame that our government has not thought to instill that in you from birth. So when you grow up, Nigeria comes first in your head. Almost everybody from Nigeria, but like, now you and your family come first. And I know that that is wrong. So maybe I'll be able to do that, but not in a propaganda setting way. It's pretty much on, guys, this helps all of us.
Yeah.
I appreciate you. You appreciate me. It means when business comes to my table and you're worthy of the office, I'll tell you, Adaora, I don't think I can handle this. So when you handle that, and when if it comes to you, I'm like, we need like a person that, Vector. Like, not because of praises or anything. It's just because you legitimately appreciate the fact that what you do is what you do. Who you are is who you are. You have grown. You have become a better person and you're trying to do that. So we can spread that. I don't think I'll sign any artists. I will partner with artists. We will make money together, but I don't want to own you. I don't want you to be a slave to me. I've heard a CEO say he won't push the artist anymore because he was dragging Babe with him. Are you mad? Like, that's all. What happens to the money you invested? Oh, ego? So all those things have happened so much, and I can see the new era creatives, they look like they are rebels because nobody would get what they would say normally because our normal tradition is not that way. But they exist. What happens to them? Maybe that's my calling, taking it back to the foundation of the conversation. Maybe I'm supposed to encourage these people who are going to do spectacular things that will encourage every other child, like Vector and a barrack boy. Plenty barrack boys now know that we don't have to be tough guys or touts or whatever. That's in our DNA. That's fine, but we can be better. So if Vector the drum, a lot of barrack boys are rapping now over just standing at the junction and beating people up and taking money. Oh, but down the road, they're still doing that too. So we just decide to be better and miss what is not. I feel, at least.
I love it. You know, yeah, you've just lit up this conversation.
Illumination.
You've lit up the conversation, and I think, you know, I just want people to hear this, to listen to you, and just see beyond just the music, you know, like, because people will look at you and like we've talked about identity, and then they would put a box around what they believe that you should be talking about. The thing, some people will listen to you, like you said, and say, too much English is always bringing it. But I think for those who really want to improve their lives and people who want to become better, you know, they'll listen to this and they'll get it and pull some impact from it.
I hope they do, because finally, if you spell Yoruba, you do that in English alphabet.
Right.
It's too late to be too traditional. I'm sorry, but that's just the fact. You spell your name in English, he does the same. You all do the same.
Right.
So which one we say they speak too much English? Don't you get it? Most of the problems we've had contractually has been English. Like, guys, if you like be local rapper, when they will sign you, your contract will be in English.
Right.
If you like be Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba rapper, when they want to sign you, your contract will be in English. So I feel we run away from where we're going. We need to we are the new guys who, okay, so we've been colonized. I had this funny thing in my head where I was like, you know, say mistakenly, you feel the follow person argue, say, A is not for astronaut, it's for Apple. Simply because they've told you A for apple, A for apple, A for apple, A for apple, B for ball, A for apple, B for ball. So if you go to argue, say, how is A for astronaut when it's apple? So I feel we, the ones that know what this brainwash is, we know what the thing is, what the movement is, it's time for us to now start to send out the message to the new culture of human beings that are Africans that, guys, okay, we are speaking English, oh, we are Englishmen, oh, if you want to be cultural, for the wear agbadana, and if you no wear shoe, but so when you are comfortable, it's okay to be English. When you're rational, it's not okay to be English. Guys, too late. Let's infiltrate the system and better correct things that we feel are wrong, because that's the future.
Thank you so much, Vector. It was awesome having this conversation. Where can people find you online?
Vector the Viper.
is that what it is across all the...
on Instagram is Vector that Viper. That's VECTORTHAVIPER. On Twitter is the same. My Facebook, they destroyed me on Facebook, so I just kind of like just stayed away from that, bro.
Yeah.
And I've stopped using Snapchat because I also think it's too much social media for one person.
Right.
So it's just Instagram and Twitter that I'm very active.
That's cool. Now. I'm sure our guests will definitely look for you and they'll find you.
Right,
Thank you so much, Vector.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, man.
What's up, Lumination Tribe? Subscribe to this channel for more insightful and impactful learning. Check out our website, luminaworld.com, for show episodes, resources, and events. Let's continue this journey of growth.